Welcome back to Tech Tuesdays. Today we're going to take a look at setting up a simple live stream for your service. We'll go through the basics of what equipment you'll need and how to use it. Let's get into it. Let's look at the basic hardware that you'll need. You'll need a video source, an audio source, and something to run the stream. Let's look at some options for a video source. There's a few routes you can go with this. The best option for ease of use and versatility is a PTZ camera. PTZ stands for Pan Tilt Zoom. As the name suggests, you can move the camera remotely from wherever your live stream setup is. Some PTZ cameras can be controlled with software, and some have to use a controller or a remote. PTZ Optics is a great cost-effective brand for PTZ cameras. They offer a great picture quality for relatively low cost. They also offer a variety of models with various output options, including video over USB, HDMI, or SDI. Let's look at the differences between those three video outputs. Video over USB essentially means that the camera is acting similarly to a webcam. The computer sees it as a webcam, which makes it really easy to use. It doesn't require any additional hardware to connect to the computer. HDMI and SDI, on the other hand, need a capture card for the computer to receive video signal from the camera. The main difference between HDMI and SDI is the length of cable you can run. HDMI cables can only run 50 feet for 1080p signal and only 25 feet for a 4K signal, whereas SDI can run much longer. SDI also has a locking mechanism that makes the connection to the camera more secure. Another option for a video source is to use a camcorder or a camera with an HDMI or SDI output. You can get a decent picture for relatively low cost. The main drawback is that there's only one camera angle, which limits what you can show in your live stream. It's also not a good idea to move the camera while it's live because it produces a shaky image which looks unprofessional and can cause some members of your congregation to feel motion sick. That can easily be remedied by adding another camera to your setup. Then you can switch to another camera angle while you move that camera. Once you have a video source, you need to figure out your audio. In the last two episodes, we looked at how to set up a sound system and a separate mix to send to the auxiliary output. Now we'll look at how to connect our sound system to our computer as an audio source for our live stream. If you have an analog mixer, your only real option is to run the audio into a USB audio interface. An audio interface takes the analog audio signal from a source and converts it to a digital signal that can be read by your computer. You can plug the output from your board into one of the inputs on the audio interface and then set up the stream to take the audio from that input channel. If you have a digital mixer, a lot of times there's a USB connection on the board that cuts out the need for a separate audio interface. If that's the case, then you can send all of the channels on the board as separate inputs to the live stream. This is one of the many reasons why a digital mixing board is superior to an analog board. Now that we have a video source and an audio source, we need to look at what you'll use to run the stream. There's a few ways you can go with this. The easiest solution is to have a computer that's sole purpose is running the stream. It needs to be a decent computer to be able to handle the stream without stuttering. For today's demonstration, I'll be using a MacBook, but I would recommend that you use a desktop computer as opposed to a laptop for a few reasons. Laptops are easier to misplace because they can be moved around. They also have fewer ports, which likely means you'll have to use a dock to plug in most of the necessary components for your setup. So now that we have our hardware picked out, we need to look at our software. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using Open Broadcaster Software, or OBS. There's a number of other streaming programs, but this one is easy to use and offers a lot of customization. Let's download OBS. We'll go into the OBS website. From there, we can click on the operating system that we use. In this case, I'm on a Mac, so I'll click on Mac OS. And I'm using a Mac with Apple Silicon, so I'll download that one. Now we can launch into OBS. First we want to configure the streaming settings. So go to Preferences and then select the Stream tab. Then select which service you'll be streaming to. We'll be using YouTube. Now we can sign into our YouTube account or use a stream key. You can get the stream key from your YouTube Studio by going to Go Live, Then make sure you're on the Stream tab. Then copy the stream key here to paste into OBS. Once you have your stream settings set, you can start adding your sources. So let's plug in our video sources. I have a camera here with a mini HDMI out. So I'll plug in a mini HDMI cable and plug the other end into this HDMI USB capture card. This one is a cheap one off Amazon, and it does the trick, but it caps out at 1080p 30 frames per second. You may need to go into the settings to set the HDMI out to be a clean output, otherwise it will have all of the on-screen settings baked into the HDMI image on our computer. Now that we're plugged in, we can go into OBS. Press the plus button at the bottom of the sources box and select Video Capture Device. We can name our new video capture device Camera 1. Now we need to select our video source. In this case, it's just labeled USB video. And there we go, we have a signal. Now we'll plug in our audio interface. We can set this up in OBS the same way that we set up the video source, but this time we'll select Audio Input Device. And from there we'll select our audio interface. And there we go, we have audio coming in. Now our setup is complete. When you're ready to start streaming, go over here and click Start Streaming. Thank you for watching this week's Tech Tuesdays. If you have any questions or comments, my email is on the screen and in the description down below. I'll see you next week.